Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny sentenced to 3.5 years in penal colony, The Moscow Times.
Here's a summary of the article.
8:31 p.m. Don't be sad. Everything will be fine, Navalny said to his wife Yulia after the verdict was read out, Novaya Gazeta reported. The 10 months Navalny already served under house arrest as part of the first trial will count against that time, meaning he will be imprisoned for a further 2 years and 8 months. 5:23 p.m. The prosecutor asks the judge to replace Navalny's suspended sentence with a real sentence. The court showed unprecedented lenience towards Alexei Navalny despite the gravity of his crime by giving him suspended sentences. However, Navalny, despite the humanism the court expressed toward him, continued to violate the terms of his probation. 4:45 p.m. Kobzev continues. The poisoning of Alexei Navalny in August 2020 was called political Chernobyl by many. Therefore, I would like to end my speech with a quote from the HBO series. Valery Legasov says, "Dialov broke all the rules and brought the reactor to self-destruction. Nobody in that control room knew that the shutdown button would act as a detonator. Dear judge, don't be like Dialov, don't push the button." Kobzev repeats his earlier arguments that Navalny didn't hide from surveillance and that he was put on the wanted list illegally, adding that his whereabouts were always known to the FSIN. 4:28 p.m. It's easy to lock me up. The main thing in this process is to intimidate a huge number of people. This is how it works. They are putting one person behind bars to scare millions, Navalny says. 12:20 p.m. A Federal Penitentiary Service representative formally asks the judge to replace Navalny's suspended sentence with a real prison term of 3 years and 6 months. Kobzev also submits a document from Charité stating that Navalny underwent inpatient treatment for severe poisoning from August 22 to September 23, as well as the European Court of Human Rights statement that the verdict against Navalny in the Yves Rocher case was unfair.
This post received a score of 71,000, with an upvote ratio of 92%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
They openly admit they do not care about any valid process. Arresting people in front of the court, not letting people walk through, even the ones who live nearby. 2 judge changes, 1 resigned, 1 refused. No audio or video recordings. 3 delays during which police came to main squares to prevent people from gathering. It feels like everyone knew the outcome but still had a tiny sliver of hope left that judge will follow the law. Also, to clarify protests, people don't really expect Navalny to be president. People just want fair independent court system. And fair election process, where instead of carefully selected opponents, who can't win, we will actually have candidates with an opportunity to make their cases, hold rallies and debates. Without being afraid of threats or police interference.
Democracy and justice hard to find a complete working system in today's world.
Democracy is fragile. It often hangs on by a thread. The United States didn't even make it 100 years before a civil war tore it apart. The Weimar Republic was fleeting. Ancient republics were corrupted and destroyed. The history books are filled with dead democracies. It's a precious form of government that should never be taken for granted. Edit. Books.
Civil responsibility isn't just living in a system, but actively participating in it. If you live in a democracy, exercise your right to vote or risk losing it.
Also, try to vote for people who are keeping democracy intact. That helps too.
But how are you supposed to make insert country here great if you don't vote for a strong man?
Strong like a bodybuilder?
Strong like bull.
Imagine getting a prison sentence for not checking in with your probation officer because you're in a coma due to being poisoned with one of the worst poisons we've got.
He repeated this multiple times in court. The prosecutor would keep repeating how Navalny didn't let the probation people know about his whereabouts, which would indeed be a violation, and Navalny said that A. he was in a freaking coma, B. his people did made it known where he was, and C. even Putin said on live TV where he was. Like, what else was he supposed to do here? But they treat him like someone who was actively hiding from the parole board.
Should have called Putin as a witness.
Fucking power move.
Then Putin says, I don't even know who you are. What is he guilty of again? Not dying?
Really?
He's guilty of trying to overthrow a world-class criminal enterprise that happens to be called the current Russian government.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.